Good evening. This is Elder G. God can woke us up one more time. God can start us on our way. God can clothe us in our right minds, and all our limbs are working properly. Every time, every day, it's a process. It become a habit. When something become a habit, you don't feel comfortable when you don't do what you usually do. So if you're gonna make yourself have a habit, you need to make sure it's a good habit. It's a habit that's gonna build you up and it's not gonna tear you down. It's a habit that's gonna strengthen you when you're weak. That you're gonna help build bridges over troubled waters. You're gonna make the valley light up with lilies. They say it's gonna be so simple when we come into the understanding who Christ is. Because everybody that submit themselves to Christ, they supposed to be Christ-like. They supposed to walk like Christ. They supposed to talk like Christ. The Bible said that if you claiming that you've been called by God, you claim that you've been called out and you've been set aside for a time just like this. Our own federal government that we pay. I'm talking about as taxpayers. I'm talking about as natural born Americans. The Constitution says that anybody that's on American soil, whether you here legal or you here illegal, anybody on American soil is entitled to due process. They got the freedom to speak. They got the freedom of the press. They got freedom of religion. They got freedom the right to bear arms and to petition their government and assemble and protest. When our own federal government cut us out and said we ain't worthy, we ain't worth nothing. And they're gonna take our tax dollars. I'm talking about the black and brown people tax dollars. And they're gonna use it to buy weapons and build prisons to put us in. We can't let that happen. As children of the Most High God, you can never let a tyrant take control, because they're going to oppress you. They are part of the devil. They came to do three things: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But Jesus came that you may have life, and that you must have it more abundantly. Donald Trump is making fun and mocking Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? He's throwing insults at her. And he said that she got a low IQ. And everybody watched the confirmation hearing of Ketanji Brown Jackson. You know that she is one of the most educated person that's on the Supreme Court. Her accolades are high and many. And the President of the United States that's supposed to represent the Constitution for everybody, no matter what color you is, or where you from, or who you love. He's prejudiced against them. He used his power that was given to him by the people of America, every American citizen. Anyone that put their foot on American soil is entitled to due process. I don't care who they are. This man is evil. This man is a tyrant. This man has got dementia. And he's going around trying to talk about somebody with a low IQ. He ridiculed black reporters. And he called them stupid and ignorant and low IQ. The President of the United States that's taking our money and he worked for us is going to call us savages and low IQ. Our employee. We can't let that stand. You know that's wrong. I don't care what color you are or who you think you are. The Constitution will not let that stand. The president swore an oath to protect the Constitution at all costs, foreign or domestic. That's for every race of people in this country. Anyone in this country is going to get due process. And this man and his Supreme Court and his House and the United States Senate is trying to take that away from the very people that pay their salary. You know God is going to tell you can't let that stand. When Judas sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, we knew right then that some people in the church that pretending that they love Christ, they ain't nothing but the devil. Judas was handpicked by Jesus, and Judas was named an apostle, and Judas was the treasurer of the organization, and he was stealing money. And then he decided that he's going to betray Jesus. All the miracles, he done raised people from the dead. He done made the lame walk. He done made the blind see. He done made the dead get up and walk again. Judas saw all this. He was the first preacher out of 12. The original. The one that walked with Jesus and talked with Jesus. And then he sold Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver. Yeah. Just think about how easy if people will sell Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver. What do you think people are sell you out for? See, when Satan rises up anytime in the Bible, when Satan rises up, God got to cut his head off. Every time that head rises up, you got to cut it off. Whether it's the Roman Empire, or the Medes and the Persian Empire, or the Egyptian Empire, or the Babylonian Empire, whatever empire it is at the time, every time that head rises up, the Bible say, cut it off. He gonna bruise your heel, but you're gonna tear that head apart. Every time that head rises up, it must be put down. That's the word of God, and that's the word of the Constitution. There's two things that the Constitution cannot have. It can't have a king, and it can't have a dictator. The Constitution says that we pledge our allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Right? One nation under God, right? Indivisibly with liberty and justice for all. The Constitution is the key here. The key is that you don't do violence. You don't believe in violence. You believe in negotiations. You believe in peace and love and joy and long suffering. You believe in all that. But you know that you live in a world that got evil people that would do evil things. The Bible didn't say stand there and let them run all over you just because they evil. The Bible tells you to resist the darkness and the evil. He said, if you resist the dark and the evil, it'll flee from you. When the devil went crazy in heaven, the Bible said Michael stood up with his sword. And Michael and his angels fought against the devil and his angels, and Michael prevailed. And the devil was cast out of heaven, and a third of his angels went with him. God admit that he got angels. A third of the angels in heaven were fooled by God. You can call that MAGA right now. They following a false god. They bowing down to a golden statue. They bowing down to a Nebuchadnezzar. I alone is the one who can solve this and solve that problem. And he is the creator of the problem. And he got about a third of the prejudiced people is right there with him. Listen to his lies, spreading his lies to their sisters and their brothers and their cousins and their church members. Going around trying to act like they love Jesus. Sons and daughters of Belial, professional liars. The church ain't clean either. got homosexual preachers, knowing that women can't preach and be over men and be the head of a church where there's men. And they stand back and they tuck their tail between their legs and they run scared like rabbits. The Bible says they went out with us. But they not of us. Because if they had been of us, they would still remain with us. But since they went out with us, but they didn't remain with us, it was manifest that they were nothing but liars. The Bible is the best weapon there is. When someone come after our rights and thinking that they can talk to us any kind of way and treat us any kind of way, they got another thing coming. Listen. Black and brown people around the world, they know that everything that we done been through, and we have been very patient. We believe we are a non-violent people. We've been stolen. We've been bought and sold. Our women, it's just been raped by savages. You got to be a savage to go around and raping people, don't you? Wouldn't you call somebody a savage that would go over to another country and kidnap the people and put them in chains and brought them back to the United States and bought and sold them? Don't you think that someone that do such an evil thing like that, can you find anything else in life more evil than that? Can you imagine China coming over here, snatching up American people and put them on ships and take them to China where you will never see them again? You wouldn't consider that to be an evil act against you? Of course you would. And then you run around like you ain't did nothing wrong. Like you ain't did black people wrong. My God, you wouldn't even let them go to school. You wouldn't even let them learn how to read. You wouldn't even let them vote. Couldn't even own nothing. For 240 years you did that. 240 years! And you still in the majority, and you whining and complaining about something that ain't nobody did nothing to you. You the one wrote all the laws. You wrote all the laws. Now you got a problem with your own law because it's giving black and brown people an opportunity to be equal. And we won't be anything else than equal. You're making a grave mistake this time. We ain't ignorant like we was back in the day. We know how to read. We know how to bear arms. We know how to fight. Because we know when we're fighting against an evil like you, we better win. But what we is going to do, we're going to let Jesus lead us and guide us in the way that he will have us to go. We need to go with the Lord right now. Things are going to get crazy. Things are not going to get no better. There is a great battle that's going to happen in the last days. In these last days, the Bible said there's great tribulation that's going to start happening. Families are going to start killing each other. Just for maybe the last food in the kitchen. People are going to become lovers of pleasure more than the love of God. They're going to turn away and they're going to gnash their teeth and they're going to call God all kind of names. In these last days, those are the ones that their name are not written in the Lamb Book of Life. They're mad now. They're on a rampage. How could they lose? How could these heathens prevail? We took their language away from them. We took their history away from them. How can this be that the black women is the most educated demographic in America right now? While they were sleeping with hate in their heart, God just raised us up. Ain't that right? 90% of the world is black and brown people. The Caucasian people is less than 10% of the world population. You know that ain't fair. That ain't justice. That ain't righteousness. That less than 10% of a population is going to rule over 90% of the population. We'll never go back. We know who we are now, and we know where we came from. And the only reason that we where we are now, because God brought us here. God put us in this position. And you're going to call one of the smartest women on the Supreme Court. You're going to call her with a low IQ to insult this woman like this. A Supreme Court justice sitting up on the high court. And the president of the United States is looking at her like she's an ignorant animal. And he's saying it out. And he's writing it in his messages. If you don't look at that and see the hate that's in this man, you're a dangerous individual. You're very dangerous. You don't believe in nothing. You don't have no integrity. So that means that if you ain't got no integrity, you ain't got no respect. See somebody like that is very dangerous. You have to keep a close eye on people like that. You know, because they'll nut up one day and they shoot up the whole crowd. Just think what an insult if that was your daughter. That can roll to the highest job in the judicial system that you can rise to. And she black. And she a woman. And this man, the leader of the free world, is insulting this woman and saying that she got a low IQ, that she's ignorant. Where's the church at? Don't the church supposed to be standing up right now? All you should be hearing from the preachers, and instead they down there bowing down to the golden statue. They down there bowing down to Baal. But Baal is not going to answer them. He didn't answer with Jezebel. And he ain't going to answer to Trump. This is the time. If you can't stand up for freedom now and justice and righteousness and love and joy and peace and long suffering, you're going to do all this to run behind a crazy man that's corrupt and hate is all through his heart. I'm really sorry for you. It's kind of sad for some people to be so consumed with hate in their heart and their soul and in their mind that they will destroy the whole country. They'll burn this country to the ground because of hate and how much better they think they are than somebody else. The Bible said, whenever you come up against something like that, the Bible said you need to turn away. And to turn away means that you go in the opposite direction. You go away from violence. You go away from rudeness. You go away from chaos and confusion. And you go towards Christ. You go toward mercy, forgiveness, long suffering, peace and love and joy. What happened to joy? What happened to peace and love? What happened to faith, hope, and charity? And the greatest of all is charity. What happened? People has hardened their hearts. And then turned away from God. They just didn't turn away from God. They turned to Baal. They bowed down to Baal or Ra or whatever they want to call their God. But I believe in the living God. The God that created everything. The Lord of lords and King of kings. How could you go that evil way? How could you talk like that and act like that towards another human being, to talk down on somebody? Knowing that they are human beings just like you, and you're supposed to be one that enforcing the law to make sure everybody is treated fair, and all you trying to do is tear down the laws. Everybody that follows him, God is against you. On the day of judgment, you're going to have to give an account for all these evil deeds that you have done just for a little more power or a little more lust or a little bit more respect. You sold your soul for 30 pieces of silver. Remember that. When you go to the judgment seat of Christ, you're going to have to give an account for everything that you've done. I don't think it's going to look very good for you. But that's up to God and Christ. I'm going to leave that in their hands. Put some respect on Justice Jackson. She deserves respect. Just like you want somebody to respect you, you're going to have to respect her. She got just as much rights as you do. She got just as much freedom as you do. Now, you don't want to start a war, so why don't you just tone this stuff down? Call up Sister Jackson and tell her you're sorry. You're sorry for the way that you talked about her. And ask her for forgiveness. And then move on. But I know you ain't going to do that. Because you never do. Because you think that you better than other people. But you ain't no better than nobody else. God don't have no respect for person. You're going to see one day. When you stand before the judgment seat of Christ, you're going to be on your own, buddy. And you're going to have to give an account for everything that you did and everything that you said. I personally don't believe that you're going to get in. But it's not my call. I leave it up to God and Christ. I just say that you're a bad man. You're bad to society. You're bad for the United States. You're bad for the office of president. It's going to take probably 100 years to repair all the damage that he did worldwide. Took us over 400 years to get here, and you're going to let one crazy man tear it all down. And the only reason that he's tearing it down is because of hate. You know what? That's sad. That's very sad that people will actually stand back and support hate. Knowing that of the world's population, they less than 10%. That just shows you how evil they think. They think that less than 10% is going to be able to overcome 90%. That's how they think. See, when you think that you're better than somebody else, you can't look at things and see in reality. For you to get up there like that, 90% of the population is people not white. And then he's going to claim that the white people is the kings. Ain't nobody going to believe that. That's just incredible. That shows you that the man ain't right up there. The man is going to get a lot of people dead for nothing, for foolishness, for prejudice. Ain't that sad? Ain't that kind of sad? Thank you.